Damn. Okay. Well, this is interesting. As you guys can see, we are in a completely different setup than we were in the last episode. But that's what this podcast brings because, as we said before, or as our name suggests, we're all over the place. That being said, welcome back to the All Over the Place podcast. If you didn't see the first episode, my name is Aryan.
And my name is Shlok. We apologize if you're getting very staticky video. Hopefully, the audio though is really good. But yeah, welcome to today. Today is what the 25th of November,
Yes, we suffered a great loss in the Cricket World Cup finals last week, and I've been depressed ever since.
the biggest bottling in the world.
I don't know how we managed to get that happen. Like every time we just choke every time. We cannot make it past any knockout finals. Like it's just horrible.
No, well, we got to the finals. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
but like
the last big win we had was 2011. 2011 was the biggest one. Like I remember every Indian watched that. No matter what country you were in, anything. Like there was some TV you were looking at because that was the biggest. That was big. Like the internet was not as big back then. YouTube was like what 5 6 years old at that time,
yeah, 2000 what
and
2005, right? Yeah, so 6
it's
years old.
2011. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so it
but
was. Oh yeah,
YouTube
YouTube
came
was
to like
made in 2005 or
yeah,
2006. But
something like
it was insane. I'm freaking that year when we won against Sri Lanka. The whole city,
that.
everywhere, everyone's lights up, and then this time around, disappointment. But congrats to Australia. They deserve the
No,
win.
no,
They
no,
didn't
no,
bottle it.
no, no. Okay, they played really well, but let's be honest, we beat them in the beginning of the tournament.
Yes, yes, we did.
How
We
like
went undefeated.
we went undefeated the entire tournament. This is our only loss was against Australia again in the finals.
Painful.
It's
It's
something
so
about the oceanic things. Last time we lost against New Zealand in the semifinals,
feeling.
and
Yes,
we lost against Australia in the finals. We just can't
yeah.
deal with that regional world.
But they're sick. They're really good players. They're really, really good players. But yeah,
Yeah,
you can't take it here or there.
yeah.
Going off of all that at news, what else? We're all over the place right now, even right now.
Why don't you tell them where you're streaming from?
Okay, so currently I am in my dorm room, in the part my like student facility apartment. This place, our walls are as thin as paper. Literally, you could hear like I'm guessing my roommate. If my roommate was right next to me right now, he could be hearing me right now. But yeah, this place it's something else, and I'm currently staying in Thurl because I go to Brock. So yeah, it's a decent place and all, but I've had a lot of issues here. The
Yeah,
Aryan knows the stories.
that's actually what I wanted to because you started talking and I was like, why don't you tell them some of the most insane things that have happened to you during your time in Thorold?
Okay, all right. There is a lot of stories. So I'll start with my first year then. So 2019, first year coming to Brock, was part of the psychology program. It was before I switched over to neuroscience. So in that year, up until 2019, everything was going well. Like all my roommates were much older than me, like 2 3 years. One of them was doing a master's degree, another one was doing his MBA here, and the other guy was like in his second year, but he decided to move here off campus. So all of them were doing their own thing, and like I talked to them, they're pretty chill and everything was going pretty well. We had our small issues with like voice complaints because the walls are very thin, like you can hear everything, but nothing big happened. And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, basically I had to stick here inside this room because I had to go to online university, but like I couldn't go back home yet. So I was doing classes here. I didn't have this big monitor. I was doing a bunch of classes here. But around that time, Aryan, Albert, all our close friends got much more free time. So what we decided to do was
Oh
we
yes,
decided, especially when school was over, when we had exams and
yeah.
everything, and I got a job here. So I just got a job at a grocery store because I wanted to make some extra money, and my parents were already paying for this place, and we already had the 1 year lease. We had to at least take 1 year lease for this place. So my parents were like, "Might as well stay." I started working there. We started playing video games here. So
Oh
I
yeah.
brought my
Yeah.
PS4. We started playing Fortnite.
Oh,
And then
Fortnite is
Call
so
of Duty. What
fun.
was it called? Call of Duty Warzone when Warzone
Wars.
first came out.
Oh, that's
Bro,
so much fun.
so fun.
We played
However,
every night till like what, 3 in the morning?
no, not three. Yeah, three. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure
think
three,
it's three. Like
bro. But
at least
it
two.
was
It was at least
so
two.
fun,
It was so much
bro.
fun.
It was so fun, bro. We got so many wins, so many losses. We yelled at each other. I yelled a lot at Aryan when I was not supposed to.
Bro, this
We all
ran.
made very stupid mistakes.
You would come at me for no reason. I'm just trying to build. I'm just trying to
Bro,
build,
you're
man.
gonna cover my six, man. You gotta cover my six, bro,
Fine.
behind me. I
I
can't have a man looking up my rear with a gun right pointed at it, and like the either my other friend, my other teammate is looking around. Oh, let me get more loot. Now I don't blame you. I stole a lot
remember
of these guys'
the
loot.
what's it
I
called?
stole a lot of their loot.
Remember what was that thing called? The sting in the center. Was that called the agency? Where we would land and then there was like these random like NPCs that would pop out of nowhere and just kill us.
Oh, because there was the secret room, right? We went to that secret
Yeah,
vault.
yeah, the big vault, the big vault.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
big wall, bro. It had everything. Like to like start off well, it had like at least one gold weapon, two purple weapons. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
had epic and
Whole
legendary
bunch of
weapons.
blue ones.
Oh yeah, in Fortnite, yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah, we always used to go there and die. At least one of us got knocked out, and I used to yell at Aryan or Albert. And I was a lot of it was my fault. A lot of it was my fault. But yeah, it was hell of experience. But yeah, around that time, so my roommate, two of my roommates, were not here. One of them left to go back home. The other one left to go back to India because he was international. Actually, sorry, two of them were getting their MBA. The other guy who was getting his MBA, he lived right next to me still. So what he was is doing was he was just in his room. He was living his life. He got himself like a job online, but he was living a normal life and whatever. But at night he could hear me, and he was trying to sleep. Like he tried to sleep at 12, and he could hear me, and because I yelled a lot, he could easily hear. So I tried to slow down my yelling. I tried to be more quieter, but he kept on getting pissed. And so once he reported me for voice complaint. And before he reported me for voice complaint, he did give me fair warnings, but I told him I'm being as like I'm, the volume I'm talking about, the volume I'm currently talking. That's the volume I was talking. So it's like
Mhm.
you can't hear that, right? Like through a normal wall, maybe that's like a small muffle, but nothing too loud.
Yeah,
But
it's not gonna be
apparently he
like
could
it's not gonna be like disruptive or anything.
yeah. So each time I try to be quieter and quieter. I had these Jaybird headphones and I had that thing like go my freaking mouth, and I was
Okay.
trying because I put Discord on my phone and I had a other headphone that was like one ear was covering it so I could hear the Fortnite sound like the game sound so I know if like people were around me. So it like one day it went to the head like he went standstill where he called the cops and like he told the cops to come here because there's a bylaw in Thorold where after 11 p.m. You have to be quiet. Like be quiet, be like don't make excessive noise that other people can hear in other houses. And the cop came here and everything, and he was like, "Oh, what's the problem?" And he tells him what the problem. And I was like, "Officer, I'm talking like a normal volume. I'm not trying to talk loud or anything." The officer is like, "I get a lot of voice complaints from here a lot inside. The walls are super thin. There's nothing I can do. He's probably talking in a normal voice." I was like, "I can go to my room and tell you." So the officer took my side of that case, and the officer walked away. Guess what my roommate did? Roommate got so pissed last night that he took some namkeen I had, so some
Oh
namkeen my
yeah.
mom gave me from home, some yogurt in the fridge, and some coffee beans, split it all in front of my front door, and he dented my door. I don't know what was happening. I was like, fine, whatever.
You sent a picture in the
I
group and I was like, what the
oh
hell
yeah,
is
I didn't know what happened until I opened the door and saw that, and it looked like vomit, and it looked like vomit. I was like, what? Why? Like, I know he has an issue with my voice, but I'm not trying to yell, nor am I trying to piss him off. I'd rather have a cordial relationship with my roommates. But he was pretty pissed. So like we tried to get the whole thing undercover. It went to head's way. We ended up like everything ended up being okay. We headed off our own way. But then after one full year, because 2021 to summer of 2022 was online as well. Remember
Oh yeah.
2020,
And you weren't you living at home at
2022?
that point, right? You were living at
Yeah,
home.
we lived at home.
Yeah.
When we did a lot of fun stuff. We went to
Yeah.
Vancouver, which is a different time for a
Oh,
different story,
that was such a fun
but
time.
which I messed up. But what happened is I came back here, so I came back to the same place I rented out my first year, my third year, and at this point I transferred over to neuroscience, and I'm the second year of neuroscience, so I had to take all new courses and stuff. It was some stressful stuff. But around that time, I met two new roommates, and one guy who was supposed to be a roommate, but I never saw him. He ended up leaving because of some situation for himself. But I never saw this fourth guy. But basically, what happened is that like I made friends with these two guys, and they were both cool. Both of them were Indian Canadian. Both of them were born here, but like their families were Indian. So I think, oh, okay, we're gonna be cool friends and stuff. Talking throughout the year, I didn't have as much of a relationship with them. We were just roommates. However, things got the worst in the winter of 2022. So one of the guys left because he liked the party life. He liked socializing a lot. So he's like, "Oh, I'll move on campus." He's like, "Isn't that less room? Like this place, we have a good amount of space in this place. We have our own personal washroom." He wanted to like have roommates, like but in the same room, and he wanted to live his life, have a great time. So he went to live on campus at Brock. The other guy didn't move, and just it was just end up being me and him for 2 weeks. The other guy, so this is some reference. He liked to smoke marijuana. He bought it constantly in exam periods. I remember he went out and he bought some marijuana, but he's like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go off marijuana until exams. This was like middle of November, so like a week, 2 weeks around this time, a year ago. I think
Was
was
it
yeah,
was it really a year ago? No,
a
no. Was
year
it,
ago.
or was it 2 years ago?
Two. It was 2021. Yes, sorry,
This is when
2021, not
you called me
2022.
once and you're like, I'm about to get evicted.
Yes. Okay. So this was 2021. This was 2021 in winter. Sorry, because 2020 to 2021. Yeah,
Yeah.
2020 fall to 2021 summer was online.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So basically, this is 2 years ago by this point, and he was pissed. Everything. Sorry. Before he got pissed, he was like he was like, I'm not going to smoke until exams and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's a really good commitment you're making. You'll do a good score, and then like yeah, you'll celebrate. So I stayed in my room the whole time. I had organic chemistry that semester, and it was hell for me. So I was just staying in my room studying, and I was talking to some friends on Discord at the time. Exam period hits. I'm talking to people on Discord, and then I hear bang bang. He's like, "Are you talking about my mom?" Like that. I'm like, "Is he having a discussion with someone?" I was like, "Oh," and I hear random yelling from the other side, and then he started banging on my door. He's like, "Open up! Are you talking about me? You talking about my mom?" I'm like, "Hey, dude, is everything okay? Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "You're talking about my mom, aren't you? You're saying my last name. You know me." I'm like, what, bro? I don't even know your last name. I'm like, yeah, like he said his last name to me. I was like, I don't even care, but like, how would I know? He's like, you're shit talking me. I'm like, no. It's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, you come to my room, you can check. I'm talking to my friends on Discord, and these friends, there's a guy named John. Me and Aryan know since elementary
Yeah.
school,
Right.
and some other friends I made from a Pokemon tournament we play on Pokemon Showdown. So we this random stuff was happening. I was like, dude, calm down or whatever. And this happened for the next 2 hours. So I was like, okay, I'll be silent, whatever. Is like, but I asked him, are you smoking? He's like, no, I'm not smoking, bro. I've gone off it. I'm like, I can smell a small amount of like skunk, some
Yeah, yeah,
something bad
because
smelling coming out.
marijuana smells like skunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I'm not. Like he was being a defensive, and then he chilled out for a while, and it was like, no, I didn't smoke and stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe it's withdrawal, whatever. It's like you should go get a mental checkup. I didn't take this situation too seriously, but I was also like weirded out by it. My mind was a whole different place on my organic chemistry exam, which was the next day. So I was studying for it. I studied till 2 a.m. that night, and I went to bed. I woke up. It was like 10. I had my exam at like 12. I'm like, okay, I'll take a shower, pray, get all my stuff, a little bit review, and like go. All I can hear is like, oh, all I can see in my phone, I have a bunch of notifications. Like, what the hell? At 4 a.m. and at 3 a.m., at 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., he's like, yo, are you saying my name? I have a recording and stuff. Managers of our buildings, like from the landlord. So he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna send it to." Sorry, I shouldn't have used his real name. I have to blur that out.
We'll blur it out. We'll
Uh,
blur it out.
yeah, yeah. So he reported to the
The main
manager for
the
the
building manager.
landlord. He's reported to the manager. He's like, "Oh, I've sent it to the manager. It's a video and everything." The manager's like, "Oh, did you make these sounds and stuff? Was this you?" He's like, "No." It's like he has video evidence. I'm like, "Can you send me the video evidence? I've not done anything." He's like, "No, you've done things, whatever." I was like. okay, whatever. I need to go. He confronted me like 15 minutes before before I had to catch the bus. I wanted to get onto the earlier bus, but he confronted me beforehand. So I just went to the bus, went did my organic chemistry exam, barely passed that course. I barely passed. But after that was done, my mom was off. I was gonna go watch some YouTube. I didn't have my video game console here, so I was gonna get some good food, go get some like there's this expensive place here called Karma Chameleon. They have this lobster mac and cheese, it's like $30, but it tastes great. So I was gonna buy myself that. I made a whole plan for myself to relax. All I hear is a knock on my door. I'm like, okay. Open my door. It's the manager for the this property. He's like, you were making those sounds like here. It's like, what was this? It's like, this is our last warning for eviction notice. It's like, what? He's like, yeah, if you make another noise complaint, if we get another noise complaint from you, you're going to be evicted. I'm like, who else made a noise complaint other than him? No one else has heard me. So I was desperate. At this point, I made a note to every single apartment, not on this floor, but like the ones that like basically border us. So the apartment above us, the apartment next to us, and the apartment below us. Just asking if they've heard any noise, anything to back me up, because I've not made any noise. And mind you, this is only two of us here, and our rooms are right next to each other. So this was all going on. I had no idea what I had to do, and all I see in our group chat was Mookie, Karan, Albert, and Aryan were going out to eat. So I was like, this is a long shot, but I am desperate. I wailed my concern. I think it's like what? It was like a 200-word paragraph I sent.
It was like to us in the group chat.
Yeah.
It was like a super long one. It was like a super super long one. We were like, and wait, this was December, right? Was this December?
This is December,
So
right after I finished.
this one would have been when it was me, Mookie, and Karan. Albert
No,
came when we
Albert
were
was.
going. No, no, Albert came when we were going to Wind. We didn't go to Wind that day.
We went to win that day, didn't we?
No, Wind was in April.
No, but it was cold that day. I remember it was
Yeah,
cold.
because that was a really cold April day.
Okay, that was a
When
great
we
memory. I tied that to
the
this.
wind that day was so good. We had like expensive ass sushi. That
It was
was
a
so good
holiday
though.
day as well.
It was a
So yeah,
holiday. Then we did the mini golf.
the mini golf.
What
We
else
okay.
did we
We
do?
have to tell the story later, but this is a different. So you guys just
Yeah,
came and picked me up, right?
yeah, because we were
And then we
having
left.
paradise chicken, and then you were like, "Can I get a pickup?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So we literally drove. We picked you up and drove you back.
Yeah. So they picked me up, drove me back. God sent. My mom thanked them and everything. I was able to spend. There was a Christmas tree of my family. I got eggnog. I was like, this Christmas break, beautiful. I'm gonna rest. I sleep. I wake up. I have 5 notifications on my phone from the same guy. I'm like, what is happening? He's like, oh, no, you're still making sounds and stuff and everything. I send him a text message, yo, I'm back at home. I'm over 100 kilometers away. I don't know what you're hearing. And oh, before I went out, I called their office before I left, or I emailed their office, I think, before I left. And I was like, hey, I'm gone. I'm out. Whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
coming back until after Christmas break. Any
yeah,
noise he hears, not me. And you
not
know
me.
it's
Yeah,
false. They still heard noise, but this time it was a different person. It was not the same manager. It was a different manager, and she was super helpful. She was like, "Oh, we understood. We understand and everything." So it's like, "Okay, good, fine." Later in the day, I get more message from him. I'm at this point. I'm like, "What have I done wrong?" So I call her up. I call up the same manager, like the same phone number. I'm like, "Hey, I'm just wondering, is everything okay there?" He's sending me alarming messages. He's saying I'm still making the sounds. He says he can still hear me. I'm I'm all the way 100 kilometers. I have nothing in my room. I don't know what's happening. She's like, don't worry. We There was a mental like crisis that happened for him. We called the police and everything. Don't worry, we've called his parents to come pick him up, and we'll have this taken care of. Don't worry. And I asked her, hey, am I not on my last notification for noise complaint and to get evicted? She's like, yes, we'll resend that. It's not your fault. We apologize. I was like, okay, thank God. Mind you, I come back. What I learn is that this man banged on my door like 20 different times. People like all around this level could hear him. They were like, "What the hell's going on?" Someone called 911. They got like a cop to come here. He was trying to settle him down, and they had the paramedics to come here. And then when he came back here, he started hearing the voices again, and then they had to call his parents to come pick him up. I
Didn't
feel
didn't
bad for
he
the
get
guy.
evicted too?
He didn't get evicted. Yeah, like his parents just like he
Like
left.
just took
He
him.
left his
Yeah.
they just took him because it's not his fault. Like this is like not a behavior. It's like
Yeah,
there
yeah.
it's a mental crisis. I don't know what's happening. He might have had stress in his life. Maybe I don't think it might be in withdrawal symptoms. All I know is that like it worried the hell out of me. But at this point, I had the worst luck with roommates. I was like, what the hell? So I'm like, you know what? That's all I can do. So for the next 6 months, there was no one else except me who lived in the apartment. And then I got my first roommate, like a new roommate, when the September like semester began in 2022. And that guy turned out to be a blessing. And then another guy moved in. Both of them turned to be a blessing. And then we got another guy in the winter. No,
Winter 2023.
did we? I think we had another guy that came, and he was great. He left because his place was a little expensive for him. Plus, he went to Niagara College. But yeah, ever since then, my roommate's good. And there've been small dramas with my roommates since. Like one of my roommates, he's a really good Valorant player. He's like in Radiant, which I don't know what that is fully, but I know that's high and competitive. And he's doing great in it. But he's taking CS at Brock as well. But he rages a lot, and sometimes like in the middle of today because he had a tournament, I could hear him like raging because they sadly lost a game. But he has a good team, so they're fine. They're good. Plus, they drive me around, and that's the other thing. That's like this is the one thing that sucks. I'm the only person in between my roommates that doesn't have a car. Both of them have a car.
Both of them have a car?
Both of them have a car.
Well,
I
at
know.
least you always get to drive back and there to from Oakville to Thorold and Thorold to Oakville.
Not they're not driving back to Oakville as much because they've gone busy. So I can't drive back. If they could drive back, I would have been back and we could have done this podcast at my house or your house.
Now
But
this is
yeah,
not bad though. This wave room thing. Yo, I don't know about
it's
you, but I've been getting notifications saying the network has been excellent the entire like for the past 22 minutes on my end, so it's been pretty good. I've been getting really excited.
it looks good. I can see you clear. You can see me. But yeah,
Yeah.
if the guests are not knowing, where this is our first time using this platform. It's called Wave Room. Once again, to pay for the better version of this, we have to pay $10 a month. But we're not. We're cheap, and I don't have much money on me. So right now we're doing this. It's just we're experimenting and everything. But however, those were the small stories I have. But I want to ask you: Do you?
Yeah.
Aryan has not had roommates. He's not even lived on campus.
Never lived on campus. I've been
However,
this room. I've
you
been
have
in this
stories though.
room. I have I do have stories about like I have one story about like this weird prof that I've had at one point. He was like a hippie prof. And you could like very easily tell what class he's teaching from that. He was like an ecology evolution prof, which makes sense why he's a hippie. And so this guy, for reference, I won't reference his name, but he once said, in some evolutionary standpoint, he was talking about incest, and then he goes off on a tangent as he usually does. This was probably the worst class I've ever taken. He goes off on a tangent and decides to talk about how he would perform incest while he was high on drugs. So yes, yes,
Wait, with who?
I think he referenced his sister.
What?
Yeah, that's a
That's a
really
crime. What?
yeah. I know this guy. So he like straight up the entire class was just like in such confusion after that. Nothing was said after that. Like the class itself was like it's a first year biology class, which are like the biggest classes that you can have on campus. Each one is probably over 1,000 people in the class.
So 1,000 people were silent?
No, luckily, his classes are so boring that each day only 30 people would attend his lectures. So 30 people, and this happened to be the one lecture I decided to attend after like a month of not attending lectures. I attended this class. I walk in, he's talking for about 30 minutes. I'm not paying attention. I'm playing like Jetpack Joyride because I can't listen to anything he's saying. He says this. I look up. Everyone is just in utter confusion. And then he tries to like go off and like brush it off and be like, oh yeah, anyways, but blah blah blah. And this guy's so weird. He's really weird. And then I walked into for midterm pickup, right? Literally like a couple of weeks ago for like a class that I'm taking right now. And mind you, this is like 5 years after I've seen this guy. I haven't seen him 5 years after. I walk into this random like office because this is where the TA is handing out the midterms, right?
Hmm.
So I walk in, I open the door, I see him after 5 years there. He's in like he is basically on the ground, lying there, doing nothing in front of the door, staring dead up at the ceiling. And then I open the door and I almost hit him and he doesn't look at me. He doesn't look at me. And I'm like, hello? I'm here for midterm pickup. Still doesn't look at me. And then he finally like gets out of his thing. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here for midterm pickup. He's like, oh yeah, okay. And he's not the prof of the class. He's just in this random office, just like sitting there on the floor.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. You know what this? Okay, you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
Uh, do you remember the York? Okay, so going on Instagram right now, there's a university called York University. Oh no, Mississauga, not York. This is Mississauga, Toronto, Mississauga campus.
Oh, UTM?
You see those videos? Yeah, UTM. You seen those videos? So, guys, if you don't know, the University of Toronto, it's like the biggest university I think in Canada. They
Yeah.
have three
Mhm.
different campuses. They have St. George campus, which is middle downtown Toronto. There
Yeah.
is a Scarborough campus in Scarborough, and then one in Mississauga, which is like the city right next to Toronto on the west side of Toronto.
Yeah.
Basically, this campus, it has some really good programs. It has some very sus programs, but the students are a diverse bunch, and not in like race, in intellect.
That's true. That is true.
There is a group of prankster students, stupid students, that have access to them. They are students of UTM. They literally go into the class. They go in front of the lecture hall and then sleep. Put a pillow down and sleep. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've seen this one that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And there's been other random stuff. There've been people that get up and be like, "Yo, this class is boring," and he's like, he says some pointless things, and he just walks out of the classroom. It's the most random thing.
Have you seen the Nelk Boys, right?
Yes, I know Alkalis.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
the Nelk Boys
they're
used to do this back in the day, like so long ago. They went around doing that stuff, and now everyone tries to do it.
bro. That they did that mainly at Wilfrid Laurier though.
They did Laurier, they tried to do Waterloo, but then they're like this university is way too
Bro,
boring, so we went to Laurier.
Yeah, Waterloo. Waterloo is something else. Waterloo is very smart. Everyone there is smart. Everyone there is talented. Trust me, Brock is the bottom of the bunch. Brock is like a bottom feeder. Waterloo is like a high tier school. But actually our school's campus is as depressing as their campus. No, their campus is more depressing, especially in the winters. In the winters, pitch black. Like it turns pitch black, black outside by like 5:30. At that time, there, it's like there's nothing.
I remember this was the last time we. This was remember that time. I think this was like trying to remember when this was. This was in like April, beginning April. Me, Albert, Tony, and you, we were going to Niagara Falls. Well, you suggested let's go to Niagara Falls because you wanted a ride back. So we were like, okay, let's go to Niagara Falls. So we went to Niagara Falls, and then we dropped after we hung out there. We dropped you back off at your place. Dude,
Yes.
the area around your place is like there's nothing there. There's this one 7-Eleven gas station with like two pumps there. It's the tiniest gas station I've ever seen.
Technically
In
four.
like four, but in like the quietest scene. Like I felt like when I exited the car to fill up gas, straight up thought I was going to get like approached by like Slenderman.
In
There's
a
no sound whatsoever.
in a 1 kilometer radius from where I live currently, there are about 7 churches. Very small, but like they're good churches, whatever. But this area, so it's very small, like kind of a mix between suburban. They try to make a downtown here, but So I'll give you a fun fact. We have a canal here called the Welland Canal. It goes through Thurles to Welland, which is another city on the other side of this area, closer to Fort Erie, I believe. Here, there's been a bunch of disappearances. They
Bro,
think
why do
human
you even live
trafficking.
there? Why do you even
So
live there?
last year, there's this guy. There's a bar here for a lot of students go to the bar. It's called well, not bar. It's like a club called Moose and Goose. It's only open on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays. So technically, it would be open tonight. And and some other holidays. This and above it is a student housing area. So this guy came out of apparently Moose and Goose. He went to get a drink or something, and then like disappeared while going down that street. And he's not been found since. It's a suspect area. It is a very suspect, weird area here. But I don't know. I feel okay. It's not that safe. I don't feel
No,
like exactly safe. It feels eerie here, but I don't think anything's gonna happen to
like
me.
you
But yeah,
remember?
it is.
No, okay. This is the thing. I went. This was like the first time, or like maybe I've been to your plate, like your ends in Thorold, like maybe like 3 times. Two of those times, we didn't go like much in. We just kind of dropped you off and went back onto the highway and left, right? This was the
Mhm.
first time I had to like drive a little bit to like get to the 7-Eleven, then go from the 7-Eleven to the highway. So I was like going through the neighborhoods and whatnot. Now, during the time when we used to play like Fortnite, we would Albert and I would call you on Discord and you would be like and we this was when we were like, okay, we're gonna start playing at like 9 p.m. 9 p.m. we're gonna start playing, right? At 9 p.m. we would hop on Discord and we'd wait for you. You would hop on Discord and we would be like, oh Schluck, you ready? You're like, oh, I'm just on my way to 7-Eleven right now. Like and you would walk into 7-Eleven, get your snacks and stuff. Like what was it like a pot like what
I
is it?
got
Like
a
a Pepsi?
super big gulp, a super big
Yeah,
gulp
super big
of
gulp and you got some
Pepsi, mixed Pepsi and Nestea or strawberry Fruitopia. I got a bag of chips and I got
did you get like one of those ice creams like Haagen-Dazs ice creams or something?
twice a week. I got the ice creams.
So
I gained a lot of weight that year. I gained a lot of weight.
that was like a routine you used to do. Like every time we would call you, or like most times at least, 9
Hmm.
p.m. you'd be I'm walking to 7-Eleven. Now after going to that 7-Eleven, I don't understand how you made that walk at night, comfortably at home, like
I
alone.
didn't
I
know.
don't know.
It's short, bro. It's like it's not that far from me. Like it. I'm not gonna give the approximate time, but it's just not that super far from me. I don't know. It's like it's fine, but I didn't know this whole area was known. Like there was like known human trafficking and disappearances here.
There's
Like they
human
caught a couple of
trafficking,
human traffickers here. They've
brother.
caught a
There's
couple near
human
human traffickers here.
that.
Oh, oh, on the fact of sorry, going to the point of bad on weird teachers. Um, I had a weird teacher, a music teacher
Oh, in high school,
in
yes.
White Oak Secondary School. You guys can search it up. He was disgusting. A lot of people looked up to him because no one knew his character, but he was a good music teacher. But this is no excuse. I would never want to learn or be associated with this man. If he's guilty of all these charges, I would never want to be associated with this man. I'm pretty sure he's guilty. I've not checked back, but there was controversy. For light of a better term, he was caught peddling and distributing it like some of the worst, horrible stuff in the world. Um, child
Relating to children.
really, yeah,
I don't
children.
know if we can say the word without getting
Yeah,
demonetized.
no, I'm not gonna say the word, but he was horrific, horrific allegations, which I don't know if they're true or not. I think they are true. I'll check if he's convicted, and if he is disgusting human being. If he's not convicted, I don't have any opinion of him. But still, if he actually did those things, I think he did. I don't know. It's weird. It's confusing. But everyone from the school that's graduated pretty much thinks he's dead, and a lot of his actions afterward have made sense on why he may have done that. And the funny part of it is that everyone looking back, I can now say that his class favorites, because a lot of he so I was a bad trombone player. I used to play trombone for their concert band, and I got kicked out because I skipped too many practices. I had my own personal issues going on around that time, but I skipped too many practices. And then he started making jokes about me and everything. I can say I'm hated now by a man like that, which I'm happy to be hated by a man like that. I hate people like that. But now I could joke about everyone else that was his favorite. So there's two people I know he loved that I joke all the time around when I'm around some of my WASP friends, and they were their favorites. It's weird, I know, but I don't know. It's like I like making fun of that situation because it turns away the fact that he existed in our school. A monster like that actually existed in our school.
Like that's the thing. We
Like
don't know. We teachers have such like they could have double lives and we could never even know because we only know them during like the 8 hours of school. When they leave, have you ever like wondered what a teacher's life outside of school is?
a couple of teachers, some of my favorite teachers, I've always wondered how they've been doing and everything, just because like they've been good teachers for my life. Other teachers, I never really thought about it until that incident. That incident sparked like, what about my other teachers? Because we suspected one teacher, he missed half of our period and came back the other half. He was the grade 9 music teacher. We thought that he just went out for a snack and bought food and then had lunch outside, had a good meal for himself, and then just came back. We thought he didn't care because our music class was a joke because it was half of the lunch period time. It took half the lunch period, so we thought it was a joke at the time. And when we bring on some guests, you'll be able to learn all this stuff. But yeah, some teachers I actually saw, like some teachers from White Oaks live close to us in our community in Oakville. Like seen them a couple times. While other teachers, like it's like they have their own lives. I don't know. It's strange. What about you?
Like I don't know. I've always thought about what teachers do outside because like okay, I haven't always thought about it. Like I'm not like staying up awake at night thinking about it, but what I do wonder is because as you know, as you grow up, you like think about you have like a day-to-day like routine, like you're gonna go here, do this, you're gonna make this for dinner. Like I'm always wondering because with teachers, you know how it's like it's the same thing with parents, right? When you're growing up, you don't think about what your parent was like when they were a child, but then as you grow up, you're like, oh shit, my mom and dad, they were actually my age at one point, and they might have done like stupid shit, but they're not gonna say it because they don't want you to think that they've made mistakes. They want you to think that they're perfect. So like I always ask my mom, I was like even when my dad says something to me, like my dad was like, "Oh, I went to like maybe I was like, oh, I went out with this girl one time." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And if my mom, like, I tell my mom, because I feel like my mom has never done anything like bad because she just feels like too much of like goody two shoes to do anything. So like I was like not even bad. Like I'm not saying my dad has done anything bad. I'm just like it's like you know how like people make mistakes like or like are goofy and wild at one point. My mom does not seem like that type of person. So when my mom always says like I've been your age, I know what's going on. I'm like you haven't done anything. What are you talking about? So that's the same thing with teachers. I'm always wondering what they do outside of school, and also what they were like when they were younger. Because right now they're super strict, or maybe they're super strict, or maybe they're chill, or whatever. So I'm like, what were they like before? And also because as you go into university, you see what people who want to become teachers are like in university. And I'm like, these people are going to be teaching like the next generation of students, right? So what were my teachers like during that time? Are my teachers also like this and stuff like that? So that's just like that's how I think about it.
That is actually super interesting. I've wondered what my mom and dad are like as well. So I asked my grandmothers about that. Like what my dad was like, I asked my grandmother. My dad is very responsible and stuff, but he's done some stupid stuff at his time. Especially my uncles, some of my dad's best friends tell me. He's done some stuff, but my dad has been like he's an amazing guy. And my mom, well, Aryan knows who my mom is. My mom is she's the best mother I could ever ask for. I love her to death and never switch her everything. Also my dad, but like my mom is a personality, a character,
Yes,
and
your
without
mom is
her, I
your mom
wouldn't
is
be who I am. and I very much appreciate that. But learning how she was when she was a kid makes me realize how closely I am to her. So yeah, it is interesting though when you realize, because it all what I always love is when they tell stories back in their day. So there was
Mhm,
this. I used to be part of this program called cadets. It's not like a
mhm,
boot camp, but it's like you're emulating what the military is kind of like in drill and practice. So they give you uniforms. You have to shine your boots. You take specific classes, learning some military details, some like small classes on aviation, and it gives you good opportunities. So basically, it's a really good extracurricular activity that builds up like your resume, especially when you head off to university and past university, to show that like employers and other people, oh, I'm a responsible person. But there they have these camps, cadet camps, where they send you off to a military base, and this military base they have this certain base for like the kids. These summer camps, there's for particular things. And one of the summer camps I went for, which was a drill camp, which was basically like if you search up military drills and like marching drills, and you'll see what they are. They're like a specific type of like leg movements. It's like they move in groups with certain patterns. They do right turn, left turn. It's not too complicated, but it's cool to see how coordinated they are. So there, I met this much older gentleman, and all these people there are like volunteers. They basically lead the groups, and they used to be in cadets when they were in the youth, and like they helped build up these programs. His real life job was a teacher, but like he was just doing this volunteer in the summer because he's not working in the summer. So as a teacher, he was a history teacher. The thing is, guess how old this man is?
like as it is it like a history teaser?
As a history teacher, guess how old he is?
Um, 38. Third, no, 30, 35.
He's 70, I think 72 at the time.
Oh shit! I thought you were
He
gonna
was
go the
either
complete
early
opposite, like
70s or
younger.
late 60s, because I remember one of those two, when we asked him what his age was, he said somewhere around that time. I think early 70s, definitely early 70s. But basically, he used to tell us that like the things he teaches in his history class, some of the stuff he's lived through. Like for example, the
Anything Cold War related.
Cold War, exactly, the
Yeah.
Cold War. So one of the things he expertised on was Cold War. So he
Damn.
he researched stuff for Cold War and taught kids in grade 11 and 12 Cold War. And he was like, I lived through it, so I could tell them the stuff I had. And his life experiences helped me understand. Oh, some teachers can have a cool life. Like for me, him as a teacher, he was very cool. But like understanding their backgrounds is like very interesting. Like I learned recently, my professor for a physiology class I'm taking, he's an actual physician. He's a doctor, and he
Yeah,
does this as a second.
yeah. Damn,
He does this
that's
as a second
crazy.
job. I'm like, what the hell? Like he talked about stories of him being like like joining a trivia and getting a trivia question wrong about his physiology in the body. He's like, oh, the doctor got it wrong. But like, what type of doctor are you talking about? Because he never tells us to call him like a doctor or whatever. We just call him Mister whatever when we meet him, and then like
Okay.
in emails we address him as Doctor whatever his
Mm,
last name is. I don't want to say his last name for privacy sakes.
yes.
However, he's an actual physician, a doctor, while he's teaching at my school. So I'm like, what? And
That's
I don't know. It
crazy.
was like yeah, it was crazy. But he's a cool teacher. He's very passionate about what he teaches. His midterms though are hell. His midterms, he never takes anything light for us. He puts us to the grinder. So
You
that's
know,
the only thing I don't like about him. But like he's a good teacher. But yeah, everyone has a different life.
everyone does, but like, so you know what I was, you reminded me when you said doctor. So on Thursday, so for reference, today's Saturday night. On Thursday, I worked at my school's fall convocation, right? Because I work with student recruitment, so they're one of their work days or optional work days was to work fall convocation. And being that I have spent a lot of money on Black Friday stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go work and get free 8 hours of money. Well, not free 8 hours, but 8 hours of money. So I worked there, and my job was basically to hand out all the degrees to the graduates, right? So the graduates after the ceremony would come, and they'd come up to me, and I'd give them their degree. And because it was the fall convocation, most of the graduates were either master students or PhD students. There were some undergrad students, but most of them were masters and PhD. And for like all the PhD students, or for most of them, whichever one I had like an opportunity to like look at the degree beforehand, because there was like a long line, I would try really hard to address them as doctor, because this would be like the first person who's ever going to address them as doctor after finally working through their PhD. And there was this ceremony, there were two graduates of medicine. One of them I got to hand their degree to, so I actually called him doctor, and I was very tempted to like ask him for his email to type it in. Um, but there was this other lady. This was insane. She did a she did like one of those MD PhD like programs
Oh,
that,
the double programs. Yeah, I know what you're talking
so
about.
like beforehand, like what happens is the PhD graduates, they get their own like separate gown. So beforehand there was like this whole confusion about which gown we're going to give her, whether we're going to give her the PhD gown or the Doctor of Medicine gown. And the Doctor of Medicine gown is like pretty much the same thing. It's just black with like a red stripe through it. Whereas like the PhD gowns were like actually like they were maroon and white for like the my school's logos, my McMaster logos, right? Um, so um, there was like this whole thing, and finally we just let her decide. So she decided to take the. I think she decided to just go with the PhD gown, right? But she was getting like two degrees. She was getting a PhD degree and like an MD degree, and I was like, damn, that's insane. Like she like, and then I got to meet. This was really sick. I got to meet like one of the new chemistry profs who was also working at Convocation. I had like a 45-minute conversation with the guy. He is he is the chemistry prof I wish I had in my first year, because he runs the class so well. He does like socials, he does like trivia nights, he does like field trips and so on. And like he was talking, he was saying that during, so my year, or like our year, right, was before, like right before COVID. So our
Mhm.
year's average was like the normal, right? And then during COVID apparently the average tanked, right? And every like for chemistry, and like so every so often it's been climbing back up after that. And he was like, this is like the year I'm teaching is the year that's finally like back up to like the pre-COVID levels of average. And I was like, it's probably because of this guy, because this guy looks like a good teacher. But he was telling me he did his PhD in chemistry for like 7 or 8 years. And I'm like, damn, you spent 7 or 8 years like working with parts per quadrillion of mercury. That's what he did for like 7 or 8 years. And I was like, damn, that's
So
insane.
he's an inorganic chemist. Like that was his main
He
focus.
he teaches, yeah, yeah. So he teaches the first year like general chemistry, but he also teaches the first organic chemistry course too.
Oh, organic chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Damn.
He teaches both of those.
And okay,
Yeah.
organic. Sorry,
Yeah.
I failed organic. So, well, I failed second year organic, not first year. But bro, I wanted to pass organic chemistry so badly because I understand neurochemistry, but it's that'll be sometime in the future. But
No,
damn,
no.
when you have good teachers though, it always shows. Like there's a quote by Neil deGrasse Tyson that if a student gets 100, it's like it's not because he had a bad teacher, it's despite he had a bad
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's like despite all these setbacks in front of them, they can get to this level of degree. That's what can set them apart. Not because he had a good teacher or something, despite he had it's like this the student has some level of standard to it. But Neil deGrasse Tyson has a lot of good quotes and understanding and stuff. But yeah, that's that's what I was thinking about when he said that because like the good professors are also what make you learn a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like even though it's like despite having a bad teacher, having a good teacher helps a lot. Just, you have such better understanding of the basics of everything.
Have you ever like like sat there thinking about which teachers you would probably want to go back and meet after you can say you've made it, and like go and meet them and be like, thank you for helping me along the way because I have finally made it, and you were like one of the few people that really pushed me.
Sad thing is, I've never developed a really good relationship with any teacher outside of elementary school. There's one teacher I
Elementary
want
school,
to. I want
elementary school is like a big thing though.
yeah,
That works
a
too.
big elementary school will be a big thing, but there's one teacher I would like to talk again because she was. I want to admit to her she was right. because she said I would fail at chemistry if I go the way I'm going right now, and I did fail at organic chemistry, so she was right. And another teacher I want to talk to, but my thesis professor helped me a lot because I was very late to applications of thesis and everything, and she was a large part on why I even got a chance. And if I can make a good opportunity out of this next 6 months to do well on my thesis and make a good paper, like it's probably not going to get published because we won't have enough participants. But if I can do a good chance of that, I think she would be the main one from university. I don't know. The unfortunate thing is I've never made a good relationship with a professor in university. Well, I'm
Mm,
trying more and more now, but like you realize not until later that you've lost a lot of opportunities that have been right in front
mm,
of you just because like you're scared. Like for me, that's always been my issue.
yeah.
I've been scared to even try because I believe if I try, that's the best I can ever give it, and then I'll have to give up from that point onwards. So I never try being like, oh, I can give better next time. I can better next time. It's like no,
Mm,
I have to either try best right now or I won't be able to give. There
that's
won't be a
true.
next time.
That's so true. Yeah, there's so many things I look back on. I'm like, yeah, there's I could have just talked to this prof. I could have done this. I could have done that. This prof was like really friendly. Should have done that, but yeah, I don't know. Now we're like, now it's I don't know. Like for the past year, and now for potentially the next 5 6 months, it feels like you're on borrowed time. You're on this time that is kind of just extra that potentially means nothing, but you're trying to make it into something when you don't have enough time to anymore because of how much time you've lost in the beginning.
You don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
Like every day you feel like another day is going past and you may enjoy that day, but like I have a lot of distractions I use around me, like not just school assignments but like YouTube music
Yeah.
to distract me from the fact that it's borrowed time. But it is like
Oh, sorry.
we're
One second.
20
Oh,
we're
sorry. Sorry. This is the great thing about doing a podcast at home.
no it's you feel like something my mom always told me that stuck with me is that like when I was 20 my mom said your grandfather got married at this age, had your uncle at 20, I think 21 or 22, and start supporting his family immediately from that point. Like 20, at 20 he started supporting his family and built off of that 22. Then she told me when my uncle graduated, when he started supporting himself, she started talking about my dad. Like she's like, you have to realize you're an adult when you were 18. We can coddle you only so much, but like there has to be a level of independence I'm supposed to have and a level of responsibility because like everything costs money, even education. Like in America, of course, it costs much more, but like you have to realize like everything is like nothing's like forever. Time is
Mm.
the most valuable commodity we have, and it is ticking away.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's ticking away.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like you have like there's like a switch that flipped in me only last September, so 2022 September, about
Mhm.
how that like okay, you aren't really a kid anymore. You cannot stop being like okay, there's next year because there really isn't now. Now like you're back then I was about to be 21. Now we're 22, we're past 22. We've been 22 for like a month now. And like next year we'll be 23 and next year we'll be 24. We're going to be mid 20s in a couple of years, so there really isn't any more time to be like this. We have to like do that. And I don't know, that's what's scary because you when you're young you want to be older, but right now you want to stay young. Like I would love to go back to being like 16 years old, and that
I would,
that was a good
yeah.
time.
If I could be 16 again, there's a lot of things I would do differently. There are a lot of
Yeah.
things. My 16th birthday, I got one of my first reality checks, and if I could have changed from that point onwards, I think I could have been successful. However, I didn't. My fault. but I think we move. We have to learn, and I think everything will work its way out.
Yeah. Hmm.
As long as we do our like long as we do a good job, like work hard. We can't control everything. There's some things out of our hand, but we'll
Yeah.
be okay, Aryan. Me and
We'll
you.
be okay. We'll be okay. We'll be okay.
We'll get
Because
through
like even though it is borrowed time, it's still like our last. It's our last chance to give it our best shot. So we should still give it our best shot, and whatever happens, happens. But um like even though we may have lost out on opportunities, big things that we should probably look at is like think about what we're doing right now. Like you're doing a thesis. That's insane, dude. To do a thesis is insane, right? So
Oh,
like
I have to succeed in doing this thesis
no, you
first.
don't even have like you don't even have to like you're working with a prof. That's like you could get a glorious reference letter from that prof because you are working directly with them. So that already opens up so many more doors than you think. So
It does.
you trust me, like it's borrowed time, but we should just both understand that we're putting in our best effort to move forward through it. And one way or another it'll be good.
Yeah,
Because it's not like we're still like okay, I think it would be truly borrowed time if we were using this time to do nothing. Because then we're continuously borrowing time that we don't deserve. Right now, I think right now the main difference as to why it's not fully borrowed time, it's time that we've earned, is because we are using it correctly. Right? We're it's extra time, but we're using it well, so we deserve the extra time. If so that's what it is. If it would be borrowed time if we didn't deserve it, but we're both working hard.
yeah.
And now we're doing a podcast. So big stuff.
This helps us also get rid of like the stress and everything. So thank you
Yeah.
guys. Thank you guys for being there.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna have a multitude of viewers, a massive 3 viewers gonna be watching this. That'll be great.
hey, to the three viewers,
We're
you're the
gonna
homies. First of
we're
it.
trying to have a guest soon, so let's see. That
Well,
should be a good
yeah,
thing.
we'll figure it out. However, to add on to a little bit of no, to conclude the podcast, I have a little bit of drama to tell you guys. So, an unknown friend of ours tried to get okay. Let's say. So he had a bunch of dough. He had butter. He had all the ingredients to make himself a good gingerbread cookies, but he needed his what's what's it called? Not whisk. What's the automatic machines that
Oh,
whisk?
oh shit, what are they
They
called?
automatically whisk for you.
Um um I don't know what they're called, but yeah, I know we can say mixers. The mixers.
Mixers, yeah, sorry, mixer. So he wanted to use a mixer, but he went in with the three other people to buy this mixer because it's pretty expensive. So he invested into it. He's like, okay, one person is not using the mixer right now. Maybe I'll go to them, try to get the mixer.
Oh man.
I'm not going to finish the analogy.
I don't even know if you can
We're not
keep
going to talk
that
about it. I just
conversation.
wanted you guys to give you a comedy sense of what's going on. It's
There
there's
are
no
there are a lot of hurdles that we have to go through right now. We're going
a
through a
lot
lot
of
of hurdles.
hurdles, but I'm generally okay though. I'm
They were doing good. This is episode number 2. I'd say
yes, it's
again, similarly to the last time, we were like all over the place in the first 20 minutes, but then we hit like a thing and then we continued. We started talking about school and we continued talking about school.
if we hit a stride and we say so,
Yeah.
all over the place works. Being all
Yeah.
over the place ends up working.
Like last time we were all over the place and then we hit like a stride when we were talking about like the medical industry. Now we hit a stride we were talking about school. Next time we have a guest, we're going to be talking about all our interesting stories. If we do have a guest, I don't know if we're going to have a guest next time.
If we have the guest we want to have next week,
Yes. The podcast will
which
be
next
insane.
time
That
around,
episode will be
I think next time around we're gonna try and do McMaster, and oh, because he's working, he's not in school. We can ask him to come to McMaster.
Yeah, if he's down to come to McMaster that evening, then yeah.
So
Otherwise he can be like one of the episodes we just try to do over the winter break.
yeah, that's true. But he will tell you two trips we had. So these will be our special,
Yes,
like our
we'll talk
Christmas
about
specials.
those trips.
because one of them. No, we should do it for the Christmas special itself because technically that was a New Year's Christmas special.
That was actually, yeah,
We have a
that was.
story to tell. This is a small teaser for it. The New York busting balls trip.
And the Vancouver stomach problems.
Yes, yes. The Vancouver, what's it called? IBS. The Vancouver
IBS,
IBS.
IBS, and
The cool mama.
the cool, yes, that, and then basically for any guy watching the video, imagine the worst pain you've ever experienced. That is what we're talking about with the New York trip. Every guy should probably understand what the worst pain they've ever experienced. Physical pain should be.
Okay.
It's a collective thing that all guys have felt. Like it's not breaking an arm. It's not that. It's
Every
like,
guy's felt at least once. At least once.
yes, yes,
By the
yes.
age of 18, they felt that feeling
Yeah,
once.
yeah. Especially, I think even in like elementary school, you feel it. You feel it a bunch of times then when you're younger, and
Really?
then
I
yeah,
have
as
no
you
memories.
you don't.
Oh wait, I do. I do have a memory. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Yeah, because then as you get older, you tend to be in less of those situations where those are going to happen. But
Yeah.
then when you're younger, you're in all of those situations.
Okay. So we we'll figure it out. But yeah,
We'll figure out the guest. We'll figure out the guest. It'll either hopefully in a couple episodes we'll have a guest.
so till next time, please comment below if you dislike. Please tell us why you dislike when you commented. Subscribe, follow whatever platforms we post this on. And Aryan, if you want to wrap this up.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 2 of the All Over the Place AOTP podcast. Um, we hope to see you guys on the next one. As Shlok said, check us out wherever we are. Otherwise, we'll see you on YouTube or any other platform. And yeah, take care and peace.
Peace. Thank you.